Good morning, everyone. Nice to see some people logging in. If you could send me some thumbs up or some comments to let me know that the sound and video is all working properly, I would really appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, good, you can see a friend in the background. And there she is. Oh, I see some thumbs up. Excellent. Can I get some comments just to let me know that everything is working all right? You can hear Logan, age 8. Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kathy, and hello. All right. So, friends, today we have another excellent virtual keeper chat. So, welcome back to the Buttonwood Park Zoo. So, we've got some hints for you to see if you can figure out who we'll be meeting today. So, our very first hint is that this animal has a scientific name that is exactly the same as its common name, but flip-flopped. So that's our first hint. Our second hint is, as their name will tell you, they're found almost exclusively in northern North America. So we can think of what we might call that area on top of the United States. That'll give you a big hint. And hint number 3 is that the male that we'll be meeting today of our two animals is actually the record holder. He is the oldest of this species currently in AZA zoos around the world. So he's very special and you're gonna get a chance to meet him. Do we have any guesses of what animals we're gonna be meeting today? Nice to see everyone saying hello. We're so happy to have you back on a beautiful April morning in New Bedford. Oh, Tegan, fantastic guess. Yes, Sarah the bison is in the background somewhere. But not today. Hopefully another day we'll get a chance to meet her. We are near her though, so if you've been to the Buttonwood Park Zoo, you might have a clue of where I'm standing. It's across from bison. Ooh, rhino. I wish we had a rhino. I love rhinos. That would be fantastically cool. Melody, you're cheating. You know exactly where I am. One of our amazing interns is using her insider knowledge. Excellent. It looks like we've got some great guesses here. Fantastic. We are here to meet our two Canada lynxes. And to show us the ropes with them, we are going to be meeting, once again, our fantastic keeper, Katie.
Hello. Hope you guys are all doing well. So this is our lynx exhibit. There's no lynx in it at the moment, but that's because I had to put some toys out for them and I wanted to just explain what is out here before I let them over to this side. So if you see in the exhibit, there is a large box. There are some spices in that box, and Canada lynx, being cats, really enjoy sitting in boxes or laying in them, so we're hopefully going to see that happen. There's also some paper mache balls that I made, and there's some food in those balls for them, so hopefully we get to see them interact with them and tear them open to get the treats that are out. And there's also a big hay pile, which is not for them to eat. They are carnivores, so there's actually a really stinky deer scent on that hay pile. So hopefully we'll see them roll all around it.
Excellent.
But yeah, so that's my little intro to what's out here. I'm gonna go let them on over and you guys get to watch what they do and I'll answer any questions you might have. I'll be right back.
All right, so we're gonna be taking a nice close look. She's gonna let them in. They are currently on the other side of their enclosure. You can sort of see them back there getting very excited. They are cats, so they have an excellent sense of smell. They probably know exactly what's waiting for them over here. She's gonna let them over to this side. Having two sides to enclosures like this is really helpful. It gives us an opportunity to clean enclosures without being directly in with some of our more predatory animals. Not that they're trying to be dangerous, but we do have to respect their nature, so it's nice for us to have a safe way to get over. Now you can see them coming through their chute right now. There we go. And there too. Now Katie's almost back over, but I have to take a second to give a quick shout out to Carlos. Thank you so much for your donation. We couldn't do this without your support. Thank you so much. All right, so our first question, I love this one. Tegan is wondering what their names are.
So right here in front is Calgary. He is our 19-year-old male. He's gonna be 20 years old on May 10th. So he is the oldest Canada lynx currently in an AZA facility. So that's a great thing to have. He's very old for a cat, but he's doing really well. He's like, I am hungry. And then our female, Sylvie, is in the back. You can kind of see her. I think she found some treats. Sylvie will be 7 on June 4th, so she is quite a bit younger than Calgary.
Excellent. All right, so we've got some other great questions as well. I love this one. Sorry, my phone's a little unfocused at the moment. We had a great question from Kaiden, age 9. Why do their ears look weird?
Why do they have those little tufts at the end of their ears? That's a great question. So that's actually a characteristic of all lynx species. And there's a couple of theories as to why they have those tufts. Some people say it's to act as like a hearing aid. They can hear a little bit better with those tufts. And others think that it kind of acts like whiskers do. They can sense things that might be around their head. So there's a couple of theories. I'm not sure which one is correct, but all lynx species have these tufts, and they're really unique to them.
Very cool. Thank you, Beth, for your donation. I appreciate it. All right, what is the difference between a lynx and a bobcat?
So they are related to each other. Bobcats are in the lynx family, but bobcats are a little bit smaller than lynx. Their coats are a different color. Usually bobcats are more of a brown or an orange color, whereas lynx right now, you can see Calgary, he's kind of silvery, whitish. That's kind of their winter color. When it gets warmer, we get into the spring and summer, their coats change more of like a brownish color, but bobcats kind of stay the same color all year round. And lynx have a lot bigger feet. If you look at Calgary's feet, they're so massive. Bobcats don't have feet that big.
Why do they need feet that big?
So where Canada lynx live, they live all throughout Canada, parts of Alaska, and then in a few northern United States. There's a lot of snow in those areas. So they have these really big feet to help them get through the snow. They act like snowshoes. If you've ever worn a snowshoe, you know that it helps you move a lot faster or better through the snow than just your normal feet. So that's why they have evolved to have these really large feet.
That is awesome. All right, Chloe coming in with a fantastically scientific question. What are the 4 species of lynx, and which is the most endangered in the wild? You sound like you know the answer to that right off the bat.
I know the answer.
Excellent.
So there's the Canada lynx, these guys. There's bobcats, which they don't have the word lynx in their name, but they are still in the family. Those are the 2 species that live in North America. The other 2 are found in other continents. There's the Eurasian lynx, which is found around Russia. And then there's also the Spanish or Iberian lynx, which is found in a few parts of Spain. That is the most endangered lynx, and that is also one of the most endangered cats. I think there's only about 150 or so of them left in the wild.
Wow. Logan age 8 is wondering, what are their predators?
So lynx don't really have, these Canada lynx don't have too many predators. They are towards the top of the food chain. If anything were to predate on them, it could be like a cougar or possibly wolves, but for the most part, they don't have too many predators.
That's lucky for them.
Yes.
Are we hoping that Sylvie's going to have a baby anytime soon?
Well, that was the plan. So Sylvie did come here as a breeding recommendation when she was about 1.5 years old. And we were hoping that her and Calgary would breed, but we just haven't had any success yet. And it could just be because Calgary is very old and we just might not have a successful pregnancy. But we're always hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep.
Mia, age 4, is wondering what their favorite food is.
their favorite food, so what they eat in the wild exclusively, about 90% of their diet is snowshoe hare. So that's a type of rabbit. They do get rabbit here, and that is their favorite treat ever.
Excellent. Scarlet, age 7, has a great question. She's wondering how old they can get.
So normally in the wild they can live to be about 10 or 15 years old, and that's about it. So Calgary is almost 20 years old. In captivity or in human care they can live a little bit longer than they would in the wild because they get excellent health care, they get nutrition, they get fed every single day, so they don't have to worry about finding food or potentially starving. So
We get the privilege of saying that this very well may be the oldest Canada lynx in the world. Who knows?
I don't. There's probably others that have lived longer than him, but currently he's the oldest.
Well, we're gonna brag about it. Why not, right? Excellent. Anastasia, age 5, wants to know if they can hear well.
Yes, the hearing and their eyesight are their two best senses. I believe their sight, their vision is number 1, followed by hearing.
Very cool. All right, Kaiden, age 9, is wondering how high they can jump.
So they're not the greatest jumpers. They're built more for walking around on the ground, but they can jump about 6 feet high and then horizontally, like a distance of about 20 feet, which is crazy for such a small cat.
That is pretty crazy.
And they are really good climbers too. So if you see our exhibit, there's a lot of logs everywhere that is meant for them to climb around on.
Fantastic. We're getting a nice big drink of water there in the background.
Yep.
Can we repeat what they eat? Daniel, age 8, missed it.
So they, normally in the wild, they hunt snowshoe hare. That's their main prey that they'll go after. But if there aren't many hares around, they will go after other small mammals or small birds or things like that.
Very cool.
But snowshoe hare is their main diet.
Our good friends Carrie and Rebecca are wondering if all lynxes have those bobbed tails.
Yes, they do. That's another defining characteristic of lynx besides the tufts on their ears. So if you see Sylvie's tail, it's got a little black end to it. Bobcats also have a short tail. It just looks a little different. They've got some stripes on it. So that's another way you could tell the difference between a bobcat and a Canada lynx.
Very cool. Now, our good friend Sam, who we've met in some of our other keeper chats, is wondering why they don't have long tails. Why do they have those silly short tails?
So I believe it's because where they live in really dense boreal forests. Their tails might get snagged on low-hanging branches or things like that. So I believe that's why they've evolved to have short tails, but I don't know if that's definitely why. People are still kind of guessing as to why they have those tails.
Very cool. Wayne, age 8, I hope you heard us say what they eat. Sounds like mostly rabbits.
Yep.
Excellent stuff. Tegan, age 8, is wondering if they have the same partner for life.
They do not. Nope. They have, the females will just breed with one male during a breeding season, but they do not stay with that same male for the rest of their life.
Interesting. Diana's wondering if they get hot in the summer.
They do. Luckily, they shed that winter coat a little bit, so they're not as hot. And luckily, this exhibit that they live in is very shady, so they have a lot of places where they can lay where it's a little bit cooler out.
Very cool. Sophie, age 6, is wondering if they change color as they get older.
No. So Calgary, being old, you would think maybe because he's older, he's gray, but that's just the winter coat that they have, and he just hasn't started to change into his spring/summer coat, whereas Sylvie is kind of getting that brown in her coat.
Excellent. Carrie's wondering if there are any human threats to Canada lynx.
Yes. So in Canada, it is still legal to trap lynx. People will do that because they have such a thick fur coat and people want it for themselves. So that still does occur. Another human effect on lynx is climate change. So they do have to deal with that. These animals are built for living in snowy, cold areas. So with the climate change that's happening, they are kind of struggling in some of the areas. So they're not found as south as they used to be, like down into the United States. They're kind of moving more northern, back into Canada, where it's a lot colder and there's still some snow. So these cats are going to have a problem with the climate change a little bit more than other cat species might.
Oh dear. Patrick has a great question. He's wondering if there are any nutritional concerns for lynx in captivity versus in the wild.
I don't think so. That's a great question, but no, I don't think so. We feed them a variety of things here. So they get rabbit, they can eat mice and rats. Occasionally they'll get deer, which they really love. But yeah, I don't think so.
That's good to know. Logan, age 8, do they have a keeper? Yes, they do. She's right here and she's magnificent. They have a couple of keepers, but since Katie just gave them food, I'm sure she's their favorite today.
They're my favorite. So.
Oh, Wayne, age 8, that was your same question too. I love it. What are some ways that climate change could affect them in the wild? I think we kind of covered that.
Yeah,
do you have any other thoughts?
Just the lack of snow. They've evolved to hunt in the snow, like the feet that I mentioned and their big fur coats. With temperatures warming up, other predators might start hunting the same areas that lynx do, like coyotes and bobcats. They might start hunting the snowshoe hare that the Canada lynx are designed to hunt, and so there'll be more competition with other predators, and lynx will have to start hunting other types of prey that they might not be so skilled at hunting, and so that could be a big negative effect.
Tegan's wondering how we got them.
That's a good question. I didn't say where they came from. So Sylvie right here, she was born at the Montreal Biodome, which is in Canada. So she came here when she was about 1.5 years old. And Calgary was born at the Philadelphia Zoo, and he came here in 2009. So they both are here with the hopes that they will breed. We just haven't had any yet, but they still get along really well.
Well, that's good. That's what matters, right?
If anyone wants to see, I can see if Calgary wants to eat a little bit.
Ooh, I'm sure that they do. It looks like he's pretty interested in eating as well.
All right, Calgary.
Now, Melody is wondering why they're not considered big cats like lions or tigers.
So they cannot roar like big cats like lions and tigers, and I believe leopards can roar. They have different vocal cords. These guys make more of the sounds that like your pet cat will make. So they do purr. They can growl and hiss, but they just don't have the right vocal cords for that really loud roar.
Now, follow up from Diana, who's wondering, are they related to our house cats?
I'm sure distantly in some way. I'm not sure how closely related they are, though.
Very cool. Now, we have a really good question from Daniel, age 8, who's asking again about how old can they get? So can we maybe recap who we're meeting today and how old they are?
So Sylvie right here is going to be 7 years old on June 4th. And Calgary, who's taking another drink of water, will be 20 years old on May 10th. So 20 is quite old for a Canada lynx. In the wild, they would live to be about 10 to 15 years, and that's about it. But luckily here or in other zoos, they can live a little bit longer than that. So they do have the potential to live into their 20s.
Do we want to brag a little bit more about Calgary?
Yes, so Calgary right now is the oldest Canada lynx currently in an AZA facility. So that's a great thing to have here. Good boy.
I love this question. Chloe is wondering what their favorite enrichment that they could use at home with their own cats is. So anything we do with these guys that they could do at home with their own kittens?
You could do paper mache. So
These
that
lovely paper mache.
Non-toxic ingredients that I made. So it's just flour and water, and then newspaper. I used a balloon to get that shape, and then some non-toxic paint that's on it. So I've never tried that with my pet cats, but I'm sure they would be interested to see what it is. We also give them like feather toys, which I know house cats like feathers, or feather wands, things like that. Boxes. You give boxes to your cats at home all the time, and they just like to sit in them, and these guys do too.
Yeah, maybe even scents, right? So
Yep.
Sometimes we give them like seasonings or perfumes.
Yeah, a lot of different scents. These cats don't really care about catnip, but our bobcats like catnip, so that's something that your cat at home would enjoy too.
Yeah, for some reason, our animal ambassador bobcats also seem to really like turmeric, so you can always play around with that. For some reason, that seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, David, we miss you too. I'm glad you're enjoying these. Hopefully you guys can all come back soon. Right, so Sylvie's enjoying a nice snack she got out of her enrichment ball here. We're gonna try and get lovely Mr. Calgary over, although he's making himself nice and comfortable. So, you know, that's always good. And Katie's gonna try and do some training with him. Now you might recognize this tool she's got. Not that one, those are tongs. The other one though, that's our target stick, and we've seen it in a number of these. So these animals do target. Maybe, you know, not today. But
So anyone that knows cats knows that they have a mind of their own, and they can be quite stubborn, so if he doesn't want to come to me, that's fine. I can't make him.
Tegan, our cats say hello back to your cats. Kelly is wondering, are they more nocturnal?
Yes, they are. Yep. They do most of their hunting at night. So here at the zoo, it isn't uncommon to see them awake during the day, but they do sleep a lot too. So I would say of all the cats that we have at the zoo, these guys sleep the most, or they're just the hardest to find during the day. And they're more active in the morning and towards the end of the day.
Now, it's always very fun. In typical summers and springs, we host overnight programs where groups can stay the night at the zoo and take night tours with nice red flashlights. And typically the favorite part of those tours is coming here, because these guys are always super active when we come around at night. And it's really fun to see. So when we open back up, if you're interested, check out our awesome overnight programs.
So Sylvie is kind of the boss of Calgary, as she's just getting right in there and eating his leftover pieces, and he just doesn't care. He's very laid back, and we'll just let her do that.
I love this question from Meg. She's wondering about why they have separate enclosures here at the zoo.
So they have like 2 exhibits, but they are connected by a chute. So
Right here in the middle.
It's kind of hard to see from
Little
here.
tunnel.
Yeah, it's like a tunnel. But we usually leave it open to them so they can go on both sides any time of day. But actually, a long time ago, these were 2 different exhibits with 2 different species of animals. So the tunnel was more of a recent addition so they could have more space. So if you can't see them on one side of their exhibit, they might be on the other side.
We always love to give our animals lots of options so that it can be a little bit more like they're living in the wild. So they can choose which side they want to be on, and it helps us out when we have to clean or do anything on one side, that we can close them into the other and do what we need to do. Like for instance, when we recently redid some of the perching over on that side, we were able to have the bobcats over, or not bobcats, sorry, the lynxes over on this side. Scarlet, age 7, would like to know the coldest temperatures they can live in.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the exact number, but they could be in below freezing temps or even negatives and be okay. You don't have to worry about them too much. We've had some cold winters here before, and these two are the least of our concerns. They get a really, really thick coat. They're very well insulated. So yeah, they can withstand pretty cold temperatures. Oh.
Excellent. Daniel is wondering how fast they can run.
They can run, well, this species can run about 30 miles an hour. I believe, I think it's the Eurasian lynx can run about 50 miles an hour.
Wow.
So these guys, their bodies are kind of built differently than like a cougar, so they're not going to be able to run super fast, because they have those really big feet, and their back legs are a lot longer than their front, so their body kind of slopes towards the front. Okay, so you don't have to do that.
Hayden, age 10, is wondering again about their preferred food. So do they have a very, very favorite?
Yes, rabbits. So
Rabbits.
Rabbits here is a treat. In the wild, that's probably what they'd be eating almost every day, snowshoe hare. Cal.
We're going to give it another try. There we go. Excellent. We're going to stick around and watch them a little longer. I'm sorry if there's a lag and I've missed any questions, but please feel free. If you have any more, you can tune it back in. Kelly's got an interesting idea. Maybe the cold environment that they evolved in has to do with why they have no tail. Maybe frostbite.
Yeah, that's another theory I've heard too. Yep, it could be that.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. Can we refresh Hayden's memory on how far they can jump? That was a good question from early on.
Jump about 20 feet, and then the height they can jump is about 6 feet high.
That is awesome.
So if they're hunting like a bird or something, they can jump a little bit up to get it. Good boy, Cal.
It's better than I can do.
Let's see if she'll do a couple behaviors. Want to show us your hungry pop? Good. Good. So he's kind of being a little slow with those, but that's okay. They haven't eaten in the front of the exhibit in a little while since we've been closed, so they're a little rusty with being up here. So, you want to start? You can do it! Yay! Good boy!
Now, what's the purpose of training them to do behaviors like this?
So, a lot of these behaviors might look like they're really just for a fun purpose, but it's basically to let us get a good look at their body. So the paw behavior, let's see if he'll do it again. Paw. That's, well, if he doesn't want to, that's okay. But that's for us to get a look at the other side of his feet that we normally can't see when he's walking around, but he has been trained to show it to us. Oh, sort of.
So close.
Yeah. And then the stretch behavior it's a good stretch for him since he's so old. It's good to get him standing in different positions that he wouldn't normally, kind of like exercise. He's stuck. And then also standing up on their hind legs helps us to look at their belly if there's anything we need to see. Oh, he does so. There you go. So you can see they have very sharp claws that sometimes he will get stuck on the mesh like that. He does know an up behavior, so let's see if he'll go up on the stump. That might be asking too much. Oh, good girl! Sylvie did it. She gets a reward.
Meg is wondering, has anyone been scratched by them?
No, not that I know of. So you can probably see me feeding them with tongs. We don't hand feed them. We try not to go in the exhibit with them. the way this exhibit's designed, we're really capable of shifting them around to do what we need to do. Good boy. So, luckily, that's never happened.
It's tough, especially when we have animals as cute as these. You want to think of them as like, oh, they're so cute, they're just like a pet, but these are wild animals, and so we as zookeepers have a responsibility to make sure that we respect that and that we don't take any unnecessary risks. We don't want them to get hurt, and we don't want to get us hurt either. That said, I definitely agree with all of you who are saying they're super cute, and Anastasia, I agree, their patterns are magnificent. All right, I think we have time for just a few last questions if anybody has any thoughts. Absolutely, looks like we finished our snacks for the morning.
I've got a little bit more.
Little bit more, excellent. Here, I'll get a slightly different vantage point. Yeah, I see you. Okay. I'm not used to seeing a cell phone this close to his face, probably. Doing great.
I don't think I mentioned it, but Calgary right now is about 25 pounds, and Sylvie is about 33 pounds. So usually the females, usually females don't weigh more than the males, but in this case right now, Sylvie weighs a little bit more than Calgary.
It's because she's cleaning up those extras.
Yeah, he does eat his leftovers. We try to limit that, but sometimes it's hard to. And Calgary is quite a picky eater too.
Ah.
I attribute that to him being so old. He just has learned what he likes and what he doesn't like.
There you go. Well, Tegan has a question. Do they paint? Have these guys ever made a painting for them?
Yes, it's a work in progress, but we have gotten a couple footprints from them. I'm not the keeper that's done that. It's actually Steph, so I don't remember how she's done it with them. But they have done footprints before.
Very cool.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't been to our zoo and seen some of our animal paintings, a lot of our animals have been trained to paint for enrichment, and then we make some beautiful masterpieces that we can sell and help raise money for our awesome zoo. Another great question from Meg. That target stick that we saw before, if that's to train them in behaviors for health, is that how the vet examines them, through the fence?
I guess it depends on the behavior, but yeah, if the vet was here with me and she needed to see something like on their belly, then I would use the target pole.
It's a very slow reach, but we did it. We did it. Oh, Chloe, I love your comment. They love the Lynx so much. They're wondering what some ways are that they can help to combat climate change so that they can help lynx in the wild.
Good question. So there's a couple of different things you at home can do. The one that can be really easy is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So try to limit the amount of plastic or other items that you buy that are just going to get tossed in the trash. Try to recycle more of things that are recyclable. If it's possible, sometimes it's not, but carpooling helps too, or even walking or biking to work or to school if that's an option.
Those are some great suggestions.
Yeah, and also maybe more expensive option, but solar panels in your house could cut back on energy. Might be a little more expensive, but it's more environmentally friendly.
Awesome. Beth is wondering, do we count how many chunks of meat each lynx gets?
So they each get a certain amount. Their diet has a certain weight to it, so it's not really by the amount of pieces, but by how much it weighs. So Calgary gets about 325 grams of meat in the morning, and then again in the afternoon. Sylvie gets about 175 grams, so overall Calgary gets a little over a pound of meat a day, and Sylvie gets a little under a pound. So yeah, we try to keep track of it. They each have their own dish with their name on it, so we know who's getting what and who eats what and how much.
Excellent. Kelly had a great question about the number of lynx in the wild in the safe zone, or are we worried they could become endangered?
That's definitely a possibility. Their population is more stable in Canada, where it's a lot colder and the habitat's better for them. Some of their populations in certain states like Washington are in decline, so they are considered a threatened species in the United States, but overall, right now they're least concerned, like in Canada. So they do have the potential, though, to become an endangered species.
No, we certainly don't want that. So thank you for that excellent question, and Katie for that excellent answer. All right, friends, so we are all out of food.
Yep.
They don't seem like they've maybe noticed that yet, but that's all right. They'll come to terms with it eventually. They got more food coming to them this afternoon.
Yep.
Thank you so much again for tuning into our virtual keeper chat, and thank you very much to our two friends who donated. We really appreciate it. The Buttonwood Park Zoological Society is the non-profit branch of the Buttonwood Park Zoo, and all of our funding comes from admissions, events, programs, all those fun things that no longer happen now that we're closed. So to help support our education and conservation mission, we would really appreciate any donations that you feel like giving. You can either click the button below or text BPZoo 20 to the number 41444, and it would really help us make the difference. So thank you so much for their help and support that you've been giving us, and for tuning in. There you go, a nice little scent marking just to finish things off. Those of you who have kids and are wondering what to do this week, I have to give you another shout out. Our spring Buttonwood Park Zoo Crew camp has been made virtual, free, and accessible online this week. So if you pre-registered for our Zoom call Monday and Friday, we'll see you then. If not, check our website on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for 4 days of free and fun animal curriculum that you can do with your kid. It's recommended for ages 6 through 10, but you can certainly do it if you're younger or even if you're older. And hey, if you're an adult who likes animals, why don't you check it out too? Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have an awesome day, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 for our next BPZoo to You virtual keeper chat.